Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on the Daily Debate. I'm very much delighted to have joining me in the studio Dr. Gamal Kaliouby, oil and petroleum expert. Thank you very much for joining us again. Of course, when we speak of oil and petroleum, we are always keen to have an expert like yourself because you're always very precise with information, details and numbers that are not very technical and complicated, but at the same time they're very condensed in terms of information. Let's start first by talking about what we've seen in the report and the talks that took place between President Sisi and his Cypriot counterpart Nikos Anastasiades about the Mediterranean region, specifically with regard to the gas exploration and the security of the Mediterranean region.
First of all, we have a background, so all the relations between Egypt and Cyprus, and this has been started 2004. Within the beginning, some agreements and some terms and the conditions had been counterwall for that agreement, in terms of a part of discovery, a part of transfer all that acknowledgement and also the experiences of Egypt to the other side. But this had been frozen and suspended for a long time. Was activated very properly in 2014 in 5 crises. Its agreement and meetings had been done between our politics leaders and also the other side from the both two sides, which it's including Cyprus and also Greece. The part was not so easy because when you try to go and apply the international law in an open water, like what we have in northeast Mediterranean pool, in the beginning was not easily as interesting for all of the parties. I'm talking about very essential 9 countries, and in total 23 countries had been already in this course of the Mediterranean Sea. But the portion of to determine a way or a protocol to deliver a way to put the Mediterranean boundaries and markers which add a value in terms of settled all peoples. Unfortunately, it starts from 2016 or 2015 that Egypt had been discovered a grand prospection of the gas, and which it's Shrouk field, which it's and a new discovery in 2015, and Egypt succeed in 3 years and less to put all inclusively that discovery in production. I would hold for a second, because if you try to see where's going with the gas since it started the beginning. Egypt's an old country in discovery of the gas since 1985. We started to produce from the local areas since 1990 and was discovered commercially up to 2006, and we lead in that part to be exporting country for the gas. The other had been discovered but had been started 2006. I'm talking about Palestinian, I'm talking about Israel, I'm talking about also Lebanon, and recently it's a part of Cyprus and planning also in Greece. But the discovery was from 2006 until 2015 was not significant attention to capture all this country to this specific Mediterranean pool. The way that we discover Shrouk field in that area create another attention, because the calculation for the gas prospection was come up to 2nd or maybe 3rd international prospection pool globally.
2nd or 3rd. So what are we saying? What ranks 1st position and possibly the 2nd position in this regard?
The 1st position is Cyprian island, which it's Black Sea belongs to Russia, and the 2nd part is Arabian Sea, which it's Gulf, Arabian Gulf.
So that's quite a big discovery that needs to be really worked on well in order to be able to handle the logistical strategies that will be able to process this entire
This is coming very significant for that, because the more attention from the international media in terms of the oil investment, gas investment, also the inquiries, prospection for European Union, which has come up increased time by time.
More than 20 countries that will be involved and directly benefiting from this.
And exactly.
Discovery.
If I'm talking to this area now, is coming to more interesting for all inclusively. But there is some certain countries inside the Mediterranean Sea pool had been tended since that Egypt succeed to put a settled agreement and a very beneficial protocols between Egypt, Cyprus and Egypt, Greece. That protocol had a value for the first 3 countries in the Mediterranean Sea pool. And then is coming with certain country was not agreed that the three countries will settle properly, that some of cooperations and benefits, and they start to attack the portion of exploration part in front of Cyprus and then Greece, and eliminate them to proceed with their discovery. Then the Mediterranean Sea is coming in specifically the northeast area. It's coming was not stable, it's coming to a conflict. A lot of countries was not satisfied by the behavior of certain countries.
We're going to go back again to that, because that will be talking more about the demarcation of the Mediterranean region. But as we've seen on the videos there, and it's important to talk about the direct benefit that will benefit Egypt from these gas exploration, and as part of the natural gas and the 2030 agenda. We see President Sisi during his inauguration to this conference, this exhibition rather, that is on screen right now. He had stressed that Egypt pays great attention to the initiative of replacing the old vehicles with new natural gas operated ones, which is also very fruitful for the revenues of the citizens. And we see that it had achieved and managed to be very creative in terms of the eco-friendly vehicles as well.
As environmental.
Exactly. So let's talk more about how you assess this initiative by the President and the significance of launching this initiative at this time. What would it tell the rest of the world about the infrastructure of Egypt requiring to be able to implement this initiative successfully?
Well, I just have, when I'm highlighted was going related to the Mediterranean boundaries and markers. This is the base for what we have been resulted today. Because if we don't have that space, we cannot reach to the benefits and how to make a cooperation and benefits between us and others. I think our language is the benefits. And I think that's all the countries, any presidents or any politics leading is just willing to grab the benefit of his country. And this is what happened.
Mutual interest as well, because that helps strengthening diplomatic ties.
Exactly. That's one of the strengths, because the most important for the strengths is the economic benefits, which it's merged between those countries and the both two sides tackling their benefits. And I think that serves looking for the benefit of Egypt. Egypt, like I said to you, has a very wide history of experiences in oil and gas. Egypt also had the benefits of the internal factories or the internal companies had been succeed to build the infrastructure specifically for Mediterranean Sea, like platforms, like piping, like also facilities to receive the gas. So Egypt had a past and a very positively history in such a way which it's need to be transferred to Serbia. That's a part. Second part, Serbia is looking for the benefit of Egypt due to the increments and the saturation of the electricity had been reached to Egypt. Now we're producing over 15,000 megawatts over our consumptions in daily rates.
And taking into consideration that we consume a lot by nature because we are a population of 100 million.
Exactly, so, but if you're looking for the other side from European Union, specifically for
and
Cyprus,
our electricity is relatively cheaper than any other part of the world, especially in the European region.
Exactly. For that reason, there is a cooperation between us that there is electricity. Main cables will pass across the bed of the Mediterranean Sea directly to Cyprus, and there is a merge between Egypt, that's a near future, to deliver the electricity to Cyprus and also to Greece. And it's in a future just that will be the base to be conjunction with the European electricity net, which they are imported in each year 10% over their consumptions now. So this is the base also for that contribution. With also Cyprus looking for some cooperation in our experiences in the gas applications. What I mean by gas application, it's mean petrochemistries, it's mean
there's a lot of parts,
it's also a lot.
There's a lot of components that come out from gas,
domestic fuel for all their houses, and the first it's our technology.
And part of it is the vehicles as well. And from here I want to talk about the direct benefit for citizens, because at the end of the day, the citizens want to feel this fruitful discovery and how it will be able to affect their lives directly by making their lives better and economically more convenient. So with the initiative of switching or converting old cars that run on fuel to gas, how is that going to be beneficial for the citizens in terms of prices of vehicles and in terms of prices of gas, which are relatively, again, much more cheaper than the fuel itself?
I think that's a lot of rumors have been just deliver a message to the politics leader that they suppose that's looking for economy fuel and also the cheapest rather than what we're going with the petroleum fuel. Because you know the alternative currently across the world now as a technology that the benefit of to produce cars with dual acting engine. This is dual acting engine used two different
I think they call it a hybrid vehicles, and they are consumed in some of the Arab countries around us. I think Jordan is turning into a hybrid vehicle
but considering that
well.
Egypt is leading that subject because we have a history for that since 23 years. So we are
well,
leading.
again, it was not activated in the past.
Exactly what I'm saying. In the past was not is a potential and also spread it across the world. Now the trade international cars, now they put in their production and their also strategies in their factories to the second production line to be dual acting.
You're talking about the new vehicles. There was also an initiative last year by the president, and he is suggesting that the governments would be able to sort some kind of installment process for people who currently own vehicles to be able to switch them, yes, with installments. Because again, the prices of the new vehicles, especially if they're going to be using the hybrid technology, is going to be very overrated by nature. So you do have an option to switch your vehicle in a certain way and install the costs as well. So that's part of the keenness and the determination of the government and the leadership to actually switch these vehicles.
Exactly, but the matter is it's two different languages. What the street is trying to deliver, that's looking for alternative fuel, and this alternative is supposed to be cheaper than what we have currently from the petroleum fuel. And this is what happened exactly. If we talk about a comparison between that and that, you will find 50% reduction in that consumption
and I think
fuel
the consumption
compared
as well
to the
in
price.
terms of burning, in terms of the vehicle use
This is the second. Like
gas burns because it's lighter. I mean, I'm not an expert, but it's logical.
But it's a combination. Like I said to you, first that we're looking for economy fuel, that's first. Second, we are looking for some benefits of used the exhausted cars. Let us to see like this.
Exhaustion. So you're talking about pollution?
I'm talking about not only that one. There is, you know, each car had been produced in some certain years at a consumption rate, which is called a compatible car or non-compatible car. Non-compatible car, which is a car passed in their running over 20 years. And this is to be not creatively, and this creates lots of side effects to the population, to also for the different exhausted, which it's ended that destroy the health. The portion of that cars, which it's the initiation now coming from the politics leader,
that they should be,
to start to stop that such cars and get some facilities which are allowed to encourage the citizen to go for agreement with the government to switch to a new car using two different, or to use two fluid in the same time.
Pardon me to interrupt you at this point, but again, I mean, what is the relationship of the how is gas cars or vehicles eco-friendly than fuel?
Okay, first of all, that you know, the gas is coming with a portion with less than population compared to the petroleum fuel. Petroleum fuel, it's a lot of many things. It's a lot of second oxidizing.
Once it's heated, you mean, then it releases chemicals,
It's a lot of things which it's not easy to be easily to mix in a press. And compared to the gas. Gas was very limited because we're talking about two different categories of mix of different lighting gas. So the outcomes from the gas after the engine has been started is less. We talk about 1/10 in compared to the petroleum fuel. Back again to the third part, which is the most benefit part, that we have almost in Egypt 1.8 million car, which it's already
just
past
1.8
million past
1.8 million cars.
The industry, no, I'm talking about the car busted their life for industry.
Busted their life, so that's quite a lot.
So, which is not accepted to be.
You're talking past, so
there's
1.8 million people driving around with cars that are 20 years old.
Exactly.
To make it, put it
which
this
is
way.
make an incompatible situation for that. For that reason, we start in many stages, and this has been started that had been highlighted in the previous summit, had been held for 3 years.
So you mean that the initiative will start with these 1.8 million cars
exactly.
first?
So we are going to start with 250,000 of the car to be replaced by new cars, and this will be practically some encouragement and some way to go for a positive
And these
behavior.
replacements will be gas-friendly vehicles?
Two ways.
Two ways.
So
all right.
the preferable fuel will be gas in terms of less and cheaper cost. And the second, in case if there is no gas, they can use it normal with the benzene. But the end of the day, that there is alternative for the population to deal with the car in different way, healthy way, less cheaper in the fuel. Back again to the agreement, which is one of an essential. So our experience is now is not a matter because that we have enough and sufficient gas. The matter is that we
Exporting
have
it.
value add coming from the gas, and this is what the Europe countries would like to transfer such acknowledgement of Egypt to be as a part and the conjunction with them. And this is what the deal now with Cyprus and the deal with Greece, that the benefit and also the history of Egypt experiences in the petroleum section had add a lot of things in terms of refining, in terms of petrochemistry, in terms of fertilizing, and such a way that may help and make some transferring of that benefits and needs for delivered to the European Unions. That of the beneficial of the protocols in additional to the part of merging electricity and the benefit of electricity which deliver and in a near to service.
Yes, so basically we would say that Egypt's energy is of course a dream come true, and yet still is to come because the leadership is very keen to implement these agendas and plans as part of a sustainable development vision of 2030. Let's take a look at this report, Dr. Gamal, on Egypt's dream for becoming an energy hub. Let's take a look.
Is getting closer to becoming a regional energy hub, exporting its excess production of natural gas and facilitating exports from neighboring countries. It has also embarked on several projects connecting the electricity grids of Arab, African and European countries. The situation was completely different 6 years ago, when millions of people were affected by recurring power cuts resulting from the national grid's inability to meet rising demand due to a lack of maintenance and outdated power plants. In 2014, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi prioritized power generation, and Egypt started to witness a flow of investment into the energy sector. Egypt's upgrading of petroleum projects since has resulted in slashing imports of oil products by a third and importing 3.5 million tons of oil by the end of 2020 compared to 10 million tons in 2016. The massive natural gas discoveries has placed Egypt high on the world's energy map. The prominent Zohr natural gas field, which started production in 2018 and is currently producing 2.7 billion cubic feet of natural gas per day from 13 wells, is helping Egypt to reach self-sufficiency and look for exports for the excess gas. Natural gas production in Egypt has now developed to reach an estimated 7 billion cubic feet per day as of September 2019. Egypt is currently self-sufficient in terms of natural gas consumption. In addition to this, the massive discoveries and strong infrastructure, including the availability of 2 liquefied natural gas facilities, have helped to drive the country forward in its dream to become an energy hub and increase its exports from natural gas. Egypt was selected to host the headquarters of the East Mediterranean Gas Forum, turning it into the region's major hub for natural gas producers and exporters. The major objectives of the forum are to preserve the natural gas resources of members and guarantee that they will be used for achieving public interests. Investments in the electricity sector and major new power plants and renewable energy projects, along with the anticipated production of the Daba nuclear power plant, have helped Egypt's dreams to become true and to be an energy hub in the region.
welcome back again. You're still watching us here on the Daily Debate. I'm very much delighted to have joining me in the studio Dr. Gamal Kaliouby, oil and petroleum expert, pardon me. Dr. Gamal, let's talk more about the other parts of the agreement of the 2018 agreement between Egypt, Greece and Cyprus. It's also called the East Mediterranean Forum. And from here I want to talk about the demarcation in terms of the security of the Mediterranean region or the Mediterranean hub for gas.
The Mediterranean boundaries markers had been at values in terms of settle everything. And I think settled in a very smart way because they're leading a good example, politics example, and also diplomatic examples, benefits examples between the three countries, Egypt, Cyprus and Greece, add values to deliver a message for the rest of the countries. The message is to Israel, to Lebanon, to Syrian, to Palestinian, to Jordan, to Italian, to French, to German,
so
and also to
Mediterranean
the
region and
think about that, the idea to go for institute, and this is in organizations at a value in terms of the people had been settled on a table, and this had been invited by Egypt. And when Egypt put that idea, got a very good cooperation and also tried to interact across the petroleum section, and I think petroleum section had get a very good connections with all that countries, and a lot of protocols had been settled in advance, which ended that very convinced them that to come up and settle with to study and evaluate what the benefits of each country had been passed or stamped in that Mediterranean. I think the first one was in general, which it's cumulatively 7 countries. And in the first beginning was just only to deliver ideas, to try to grab the ideas, try to go for some way of terms and the condition to get some cooperation. The leading had been showed well and very clear that the most strong infrastructure country in the Mediterranean Sea pool with Egypt, and the reason for many things. First, that's we have land piping, we have the European 1 piping, we have the European 2, which it's supposed to be delivered to Europe. Unfortunately, there is a conflict in the back of Syrian, which stopped that extension of the piping. But we have a piping connected direct with Jordan, we have a piping connected direct with Israel. We have also a strategic graphics position for Egypt in the Mediterranean Sea and cross also the Red Sea to Gulf of Aqaba, and also directly portion to the European countries. This is position in terms of South Asian, the north of Europe, and also the south of Africa position between these 3 countries. Egypt is leading to be a hub in terms of that can receive such of the gas, which is many of these countries in the Mediterranean Sea, there is no any way or path to deliver their gas or to sell their gas or to try to get some benefit of their gas. The only one thing that's Egypt in a short distance. Egypt because there is piping infrastructure is based. Egypt because we have refining, over 9 refiners that we have in Egypt. We have also over 11 petrochemistry factories. We have also over 18 fertilizing factories. I think that's infrastructure in addition to the LNG factories that we have. It's a contribution. If you try to run the comparisons between the countries of the total 7 countries or 9 countries in the same pool, you will not find that such infrastructure
is available.
Yes,
that's true. And it's very costly, and as you said, Egypt knows the know-hows. But speaking of the know-hows, if you could briefly explain the logistics of this transportation. What do they do? Do they liquefy these gas? Do they separate the components? How does it be
not only this one.
Yeah.
Let me to just first of all, when Egypt tried to deliver that eco to the all peoples, that's a voice, it's coming to be actual because all of them, they are looking for a position of Egypt. Egypt is a big market. We are 100 million people. We have a big market consumption.
Well. Yes.
Exactly. Second, this is only not that one, because we have also the benefit of the petrochemistry, and we are all the country using the technology of petrochemistry since 1998. So we are very powerful over 21 years, and we have enough to export such petrochemistry material, and we got some gain for that one. When we increase such factors, which our target
that's
is
definitely
a
going
politics
to boost
leading,
the economy.
it will give some benefit for these people to deliver the gas, and they can make a cooperation with us in some investment.
So it's a win-win game at the end of the day. You sort of benefit your country economically, and they have also an interest of receiving gas, which they have deficits from. And I believe that they receive percentages from different countries, whether it's from Russia, from the UK, the Netherlands, and so a number of countries. What happens to the shares in this regard? So they will be, these countries they take from, they'll be self-sufficient?
Let me to explain to you.
To explain to us, how does this work?
First, 25. First, that's 25 countries which it's contributed the European Union is used or to get their usage of the gas or the consumption of the gas is coming from three ways. First one, it's 28%, 25 to 28% is coming from Russian across the piping line, which is very long piping line, which is 980 kilometers coming from the Black Sea directly, which is called Green Stream. And this is across north of Ukraine. And unfortunately, Ukraine was not allowed to them to go bypass in that area since the revolution. Then they switch to the part of Turkey to go across that area. The 28%, which is a consumption rate coming from Russian, is looking to increase that number because there is another line now is coming also from Russia to go across 6 countries. It starts from Germany up to Bulgaria, Hungary, and the rest up to Slovenia. This green or the second stream green line, it's different at value in terms of the gas consumption. So the total is coming to 38% of the gas consumptions coming from Russia to Europe.
That makes a deficit for them, which means they have to compensate by taking from the Gulf.
But unfortunately, they cannot go further because, you know, there is limitation in somehow weather condition, not allowed to the gas to continue.
You can't easily pass through any country without demarcations and legal water legal. But I'm talking in this regard, what happens is that these countries become, they need more to consume.
I'm saying, let me to complete the second part. The second part for the gas consumptions sources coming to Europe from 4 countries, which it took Spain, Denmark, Holland, and Portugal. The 4 countries, this is consumed almost 35% of the gas consumptions to Europe. So the total consumption completely now is took about 70%. The rest of 30% is coming. Part coming from Algeria, and part with France. Part is coming from Qatar. Third part is coming from Iran. So this is great contribution, contribute 30%, the rest of consumption. Each year, the consumption rate of gas to European Union is 11 to 12%
deficit
increment. So the
deficit, you mean?
So the exactly. So they're looking for another resources. They're looking for new resources. They're looking also for very potential areas with a huge prospection growth, allow to build and put their strategy for their economies and sources of the energies in a proper condition. For that reason,
they would come to
the
Mediterranean,
ECO is coming
course,
to
Egypt,
our organization, gas organization for Mediterranean, East Mediterranean. And the way to go, we start with 3 Europe countries. We talk about France, talk about Italy, and also Germany as a portion, as a supervisor inside that organization. Additionally, recently, Emirates also joined that organization in the United States, also as a supervisor, also in that organization.
Wow, that's actually it's quite very far, but still, yeah.
Not because this is the 3rd prospection of the gas globally. So the investment from their companies supposed to be take a part and took place in that part.
Yes,
so for that reason,
they help with the technology at the end of the day. Yes.
So all Europe oriented their strategy in their energy companies, specifically for France 3 companies, Norway 1 company, UK 3 companies, United States 3 companies, additional to Italian companies, additional
Yes,
to
definitely. We have
some
like around 10,
Norwegian
15
company.
popular companies that are known for gas exploration.
End of the day, you will
petrochemicals.
find now the Mediterranean Sea is a huge number of European countries try to invest looking for a gas discoveries and looking also for
And it's
some
very
business for
costly
the
as
gas.
well. It costs
And for that
billions.
reason, the Mediterranean Sea pool is coming like a very attentionally strategic area. And if the gas organization for East Mediterranean countries was not held, I would suppose that all of them will be in war since 2 years ago.
Of course, yes.
I think that the sound of Egypt is coming very strong because we have a languages of the benefits. And the language of the benefits with the infrastructure of Egypt and very good politics role of
And
Egypt.
our discovery at the end of the
And
day.
because that's our experience, like I said to you. Since 2015, all eyes had been focusing.
And also, let's talk about the time frame, because these projects take up to 10 years before they actually start production, but Egypt magically...
3 years.
Exactly. So that's, again,
This what
made
I'm
it
saying to
even
you.
more
So if I-
challenging and more of a competition sort of thing for people to these companies to actually
Honestly,
come
let me to just say to you, no, I'm not to stop you, but honestly, let me to tell you, without the leadership, I think that
This was
project
never going
cannot
to
be
happen,
achieved.
of course.
Exactly, because there is a lot of work had been done. You cannot go to the last minutes that you succeed, you have the benefits, you get the results, you succeed to deliver what the population needs, and you already meet ultimate value add. You
in a very short
go
time.
for all that unless you have very strong preparation had been settled in the beginning, a way smart from the political leadership
that's why-
to deliver to
yes.
that countries, and also the way to capture that conflicts. The conflict had been expanded to
Of course.
to
Yes.
Greece, to Italy, to France, to be a war inside the Mediterranean Sea. At the end of the day, if the position of Egypt was not very
Wise
smart,
as well. Yes, wise.
in
exactly.
a
I
way
was gonna
that
say
tried to
yes.
collect the
To
all
handle the
groups
situation.
in a way.
Because at the end of the day, it should be a benefit and interest for everybody. It's not like some kind of monopolization to a discovery. It's like what I'm going to take, what I need, and I'm going to help you benefit what you need. And it's a discovery. It's a natural resource. It's from God and it's for everybody, but with regulations and process. With these leap of steps that we're taking here in Egypt, with the very strong will of leadership, how closer are we getting to the agenda achievement of 2030, the Sustainable Development Agenda?
Exactly. That's if I'm just go for that part, I think 2030 it will be a different philosophy because it's coming to meet the needs of our future populations. It's not coming
exactly.
for just for a current population or for tomorrow or after tomorrow,
you're catching
or even
up
for
with
5 years.
where
talk
the rest
about,
of the world are going,
exactly.
yes.
So the benefit now that we think with thoughts out of the box in a way that's get our benefits, and we try to maintain a portion of what we gain to our future generation. I think that's Egypt. To go for the portfolio of energies, you will find that the opinion of all worlds is coming different. If you talk about finance, if you talk about Forbes, if we talk about even for energy agencies, you will find that all reports show that a real example, a very successful example to be a lead for a country had been converted their needs in 5 years to be strong with value add. I think that's what happened in Egypt. And to go for the portfolio of the energies as contribution for a good economy, that any economies without variation or balancing in energy resources, it cannot succeed. For that reason, since 5 years ago, we have been started that balance in energy sources. We talk about coal, we talk about gas, oil, nuclear, renewable energies,
yes, of course.
and also
so we're moving
for
in all
hydrology.
directions towards, of course.
All these resources had been evaluated.
And that's why I was saying
and
it that, yes, energy is a dream come true to Egypt. And of course, we do have short-term and long-term benefits from this. Unfortunately, our time is up. Dr. Gamal Kaliouby, oil and petroleum expert. It's always a pleasure having you here. Thank you
very much for you.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of our episode of The Daily Debate. I'm Yassine Bakir signing off. Thank you for watching.